Once again, I'm your host, and welcome to Our City. Or Youth View, rather.
Yes. Now, Oscar, today we'll be discussing politics and the importance of voting. For those who aren't aware, we are facing one of our most controversial presidential elections to date.
We definitely are. Senator Clinton and Obama are both going head-to-head and fighting for the nominated spot in this year's presidential election.
Now, let's introduce today's guest and have him say a little something about himself.
Hi, well, good evening, Oscar, Imani. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's my pleasure to be here. When I found out that you were doing this, I was more than happy to come. So I think it's important, the topic that you're covering. As for myself, I'm a councilman of the 2nd Ward here in the city of Elizabeth. I've been councilman for the past 16 months. However, my entire life I've been involved and active in community service and different civic association boards and committees and different things, whether it's registering people to vote or helping people out that are homeless or hungry. In different areas I've always been involved, and that's why I pursued my being a councilman at the present time.
Okay. Now, our first question for you is, do you think that politicians use dirty political tactics now more than ever?
Well, I don't know. I don't know necessarily that the politics have gotten any dirtier. What I do know, what I can tell you, is that I think that the public in general is just getting tired of that sort of thing, of airing the dirty laundry of the different politicians, of the negative commercials and ads that are being placed out there. I think people are getting tired of that, and I think you're seeing it now in this election. And again, you mentioned, Oscar mentioned before about the presidential election that's taking place, and you see it there, and I think people are starting to resent some of that negative politics that's going on these days.
I agree.
So do I. Now, how do you feel about the upcoming presidential candidates?
I think, well, in terms of the candidates, I'm a Democrat, so I'm going to be in favor, of course, the Democrats. I think we have on the Democratic side 2 fine candidates that are running, Senators Obama and Senator Clinton. They both have, they have positive pros and cons to each one of them, but I think they're both excellent candidates. They both have good experience. They both have excellent charisma, I think, and I think they'll make excellent, presidential nominees. Whoever gets there in the end, as we know, this has been a very protracted race that we've had this year.
Yes, it has. Do you think this election will shape our nation as a people?
I think in the end, and I'm hopeful that it will come together. And as a people, change the way things are going, as you can see, and I know you're aware of, I'm sure, the economy right now, the war in Iraq, all these things, people are concerned about that. And I think they've come out in record numbers now as a result of that, because they want to speak, they want to share their opinions about things, and we all have a right, as youth, you have a right to express those opinions and have a voice and have a say in those matters. And I think it's going to bring us together in the end.
Yes, I agree with that too.
It's a good thing you brought up Iraq, because what do you feel will happen with the war in Iraq when our new president takes over?
Well, I have to tell you, I think that if one of the Democrats gets in, if Senators Obama or Clinton gets in, I think that they are going to do what they can to bring that war to a conclusion as early as possible. Of course, they'll have to meet with their cabinet members and and consult with them to see what would be the best course of action to take, because they won't be able to go in there and immediately get the troops out of there. But I think they both want the troops home. I think they've heard the cries of the public, that the troops at this war, we shouldn't have been in there to begin with in the first place, and that our troops should be come home. We're losing, soldiers every day as we go by. Thousands of soldiers have died already, and a war that many think is unnecessary. However, on the other hand, the Republican candidate is saying that he's going to continue the war, continue in the same footsteps as the current administration, and that he feels that this war is necessary. So if he gets in, I think we're going to be in there for a couple of more years. And if the Democrats get in, they're going to get in there and get our troops, as many of them as possible, out as quickly as possible, even though, we'll think we'll have some presence there, but certainly not to the levels that we have them there presently.
Right. Oh yes, I mean these elections they can get quite interesting, but along with presidential elections, we also have like local elections.
Yes, yeah, we have them. We have a lot right now. We recently had the Board of Education election, and soon we have the mayor and the city council elections. What are your views on local elections or citywide elections?
Well, local elections are very important. I mean, with the local elections, these are the officials, your elected officials, the people that, you know, yourself as youth that you look up to. You may want to one day be in the role, in the capacity that they're in, maybe run for office yourself. These are the people that shape the policies. These are the people that shape the laws. These are the people that approve the budgets. You know, these are the people that advocate for the residents of the city, or if it's the city, if it's the Board of Education, they're the advocates for the students to make sure that they're getting the best education that they possibly can, and getting all the tools and everything that they need, and making the decisions, you know, that are going to impact our youth and our future. So on both ends, the local politics is very important, and I urge everyone, from young to old, it's never too late to get involved, you know, to take a stand. You know, at this point in your lives, particularly, you know, you're forming your opinions, and it's important that you become involved as much as possible and as early as possible, so that this way, later on in the future, when you decide to run for office, in which I hope you get involved in something like that, both of you, you know, you can know where you stand, you know, and develop a platform and say, this is my position on whether it's education, whether it's healthcare, whether it's seniors, whether it's the war. You know, you can have a good basis for your platform and put that platform forward.
It's a good thing you mentioned that, because that was our next question, if you thought it was important for people in our community to get involved with voting and voicing their opinion. But,
yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, I myself, I probably didn't get as involved until I was a sophomore in college. At that point is when I really began getting involved, because of, you know, my friends that I made in college, and then a lot of them were involved. So at that point, I became involved, and I came back to my community as well, and began, you know, getting involved in campaigns, getting involved in different civic-minded types of things. Like I said, helping the homeless, feeding the poor, or whatever the case may be. And it's definitely important that you get involved and have a say. You have a voice. If you like somebody, you can support them. If you don't like them, you can oppose them. If you like a particular question that we're voting for, you know, you can help either vote it up or vote it down. You know, and you have a say in that. It won't always go the way that you want, you know, but at least you had a say and said, well, I voted against it. If it passes, let's see how it goes. Let's see if I was right or I was wrong.